What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and 25 updates later, you can finally obtain the final Dark Ops calling card for Black Ops 4 Zombies. What once was all of the facts, which involves you completing all factions in Season 1, is now One of Us, which now reads complete at least half of all the Dark Ops challenges for Black Ops 4 Zombies. And it feels a little bit like a cop-out, quite lazy, and they honestly could have been a little more original with this last Dark Ops calling card. I honestly thought they could have added one where it says complete all of the gauntlets, not flawlessly, but at least beat all of the gauntlets across both base maps and DLC, or even better yet, complete all of the main quests across both, base maps and DLC as well. But for some reason, Black Ops 4 Zombies is the first Zombies iteration in years to not feature some type of super Easter egg reward after completing all main quests. Literally nothing is given to you for having a completion on all zombie maps here in the game. And I know there's already some Dark Ops challenges for completing the base maps main quest or the base maps gauntlets, but this last challenge could have been something, right? Something of a reward for completing every main quest or every gauntlet that exists in this game. And I feel a little bit robbed that there was a lot of grinding put into all of the main quests and the gauntlets flawlessly just to get nothing in the end. Even a super sticker for completing all gauntlets flawlessly. Not even that. But what's crazy about this is that Black Ops 4 Dark Ops for some reason doesn't account for DLC, while Black Ops 3's Dark Ops, at least for zombies, did account for DLC, right? We have the Premise Rules calling card that involves you completing all main quests and all Black Ops 3 zombie maps, and again, that accounts for DLC, but for some reason Black Ops 4 just doesn't account for it. So I even would have thought, hey, if DLC 5 Zombies Chronicles 2 comes out next month or even in January, maybe they'll save the Dark Ops for when DLC 5 comes out, because you have to complete the main quest on the 3 Victus remakes to then get completions on every single map in Black Ops 4. Maybe that would have been cool, but again, they just changed it to something very simple, which is to complete at least half of the Dark Ops challenges. In order to actually get this calling card, you have to spawn into any type of game of zombies, and right when you spawn in on round 1, you'll get the pop-up on your screen that you completed One of Us as a Dark Ops challenge. Now, what's also very strange about that is not only was the calling card itself, the last Dark Ops challenge, changed for Black Ops 4, but also the 100%er calling card was also changed from the one on screen that we've known about for months because people out there data mined what the last Dark Ops challenge was and what the 100%er looks like. It was changed from this to an animated version of the Put to the Quest calling card, which you get for completing the main quest on Voyage of Despair, 9, and Blood of the Dead. So I'm confused, right? People have gotten 100%er, and in the main menu on your after action report, you can still see that you've unlocked the original one, but then when you go to your actual Dark Ops tab, the 100%er has been changed to an animated version with a slightly different color palette to one you already got for completing the main quest on the base maps in this game. It just boggles my mind that they couldn't even add in an animated calling card that looks better than all of the ones here, but instead they chose to go with one that's already in the game that you already have and worked for and just, tweaked it up a little bit. I would have rather honestly had the original one that was leaked from the files, right? Just give us that one, even if it's not animated. It's still something different from the other ones we have here at the menu. So I'm very confused as to the decision making with how they changed the last Dark Ops. It feels like some intern who has very little idea of how Black Ops 4 Zombies works, made this choice to change it. It's just very weird, and I don't understand it. It took 1 year for Dark Ops to be completed just because Factions was scrapped. And again, Treyarch talked about Factions quite a few times. They mentioned it at the reveal. They mentioned it in like some December update or some blog post, saying that it was coming along very nicely, but it was very complicated, so they had to work a little bit longer on it. Then on 115 day, they announced again it was close to being done, but they're putting a lot of time into how the system will work. And then I think it was not too long after that, in a tweet or something, they confirmed that Factions was planned for their next operation, Operation Spectre Rising, but as a coincidence, contracts were introduced during Spectre Rising as well. So that right there is a flag that, hey, contracts is what Factions was going to be. But people out there are like, wait a second, contracts is almost almost nothing like what Factions was confirmed to be, right? From leaked descriptions, from statements from Treyarch, Contracts is very different. But luckily we have it confirmed from inside sources, the same reliable people who just leaked the entirety of Modern Warfare, that Factions was definitely planned to come to the game even if it wasn't at release, but they just ran out of time based on having to cut their budget and then work on COD 2020, and also cutting it as a response of the community's poor reception to face paints last Halloween. They saw that nobody out there saw a point in face paints, didn't like them, so they figured, wait a second, since Faction is going to be rewarding players with things like face paints and useless customization features in a first-person game, why are we going to even release this? Let's change the system to be like Contracts, a universal system for all game modes in the game that rewards players with things that they actually want, reserves, plasma, double XP, etc. Stuff people are actually requesting a system for. So that's what they did, and here's the thing about this, it isn't illegal, right? You could, throw it under false advertising a little bit, but to me it's more incorrect on the ethical side. It's ethically incorrect and ethically really shady, but legally, obviously Treyarch threw this at Activision and said, hey, we're going to change this feature around, and Activision got it approved from their lawyers to say, it's fine, go with it. Even if we don't say anything, technically speaking, you're living up to the promise and saying, Factions was promised for Spectre Rising, but we're going to release Contracts instead, still in the same date that was promised, right? The next operation, which was Spectre Rising. So technically speaking, they released a feature during Spectre Rising that was supposed to be Factions, but it's close enough, and if anything, is miles better, because here's how this would have worked, right? And the thing is, Factions was really leaning towards the Chaos story and was influenced by the lore of the Chaos story, and because Chaos was received pretty poorly as well, and Aether returned with DLC 3, there was really no point in bringing a feature that was heavily centered around the Chaos storyline. So you would have joined one of 4 factions. Now the factions were Bloodfaith, Tempest Novi, the Dustborn, and the First Legion. We even have pictures of what these factions look like thanks to data mining and some other leaks, so I'll put that on screen. And Blundell said the system would add a new layer to the zombies experience, asking players who do you stand with and what does that mean as you progress along that path. Thanks to other leakers and reliable inside sources, how this would have worked would have been you joining one of 4 of these factions, and there would have been a weekly or monthly calling of the month, and whichever faction or group completes that challenge first or better or gets more completions of the challenge would unlock a reward for that week or that month, and the reward would have consisted of very simple character customization, outfits, face paints, stuff that's probably already in the game right now and doesn't look that good. Again, most of those items and all that loot that was scrapped because of Factions was probably saved for, content in future contraband streams and future items in the black market. So we probably already have all of that loot in game now, but it's probably locked behind a paywall. So would have been very simple and useless character customization here in Black Ops 4 Zombies. And after they saw a reception to, the face paints and other stuff in Black Ops 4, they're like, why are we going to release a feature that's centered around stuff people don't want? Another point to add on to that is that Blundell mentioned Factions adding a new layer to the experience. So not only a competitive layer, right, where you join one of 4 groups and hopefully beat that challenge for the month, but leakers confirmed that when you do beat a faction, regardless if you're the winner of the month, you unlock a little bit of like a cipher or a message that's hinting towards the future of the Chaos storyline. So if Chaos was scrapped indefinitely or at least saved for the next game, again, there was no point in putting out Factions in Black Ops 4 if there's no real future of Chaos to look forward to when Aether was the focus starting with DLC 3. So another good point to actually bring up when it comes to the scrapped mode that is Factions. But it's looking very clear now, based on all the Dark Ops challenges and all the calling cards and stuff in game, Black Ops 4 was definitely heavily centered around the Chaos storyline, at least when they were in development with this game. And again, as previous leakers reported, Chaos was meant to be the focus of the entirety of Year 1 for Black Ops 4, and maybe even Blood of the Dead and Classified would have been saved for Year 2, right? Year 2 would have been a full-fledged, supported Call of Duty, right? With a full season of Aether maps, Blood of the Dead, Classified, Zombies Chronicles 2's Victus maps, and then you of course have, Nuketown and Call of the Dead. that's what year 2 was probably going to be, and that also explains why at the reveal event for Black Ops 4 Zombies, they only had an intro ready for 9 and Voids. Blood of the Dead just had a very short teaser hinting at the title of the map and the characters you'd be playing as. There was no intro ready at that point, so Aether was probably a second thought after seeing some backlash to, you know, some leaks about Black Ops 4 and the fact they were starting a new story. They probably saw our reaction and our tweets and our comments and realized you cannot ship a Black Ops game without the Aether story. And Activision said, well, you got to get some Aether maps in development now. And maybe they were like, okay, well, we'll launch Aether at release with Blood of the Dead and Classified, but we'll still save more Aether maps for year 2. But you know what happened? Chaos wasn't received well, so they had to bring back the Aether storyline midway through the DLC season of Black Ops 4. And that's honestly what happened here, because the Dark Ops achievements and unlocks look like they're heavily centered around the Chaos story. Nothing really in those images or animated calling cards look like it's anything related to the Aether story whatsoever. But overall, this update was kind of cool. I posted my guide last night for the Tag Their Totem Gauntlet, known as an Ice Day in Hell. That was a ton of fun. I'm also questioning why we have this new looking melee weapon, which is kind of interesting, but looks like it'd be something featured in a zombie map, right? Maybe they'll take an approach similar to Frozen Dawn one day and have this melee weapon, you know, unlockable in game and then be able to upgrade it to make it even more powerful. Maybe it was meant to be in a Chaos map, but got scrapped at the last minute. Another theory out there, you know, that's kind of like a conspiracy, is that maybe there is a side Easter egg to get this in Ancient Evil, because Ancient Evil has no side quests, so maybe this is the one that's still on the map, but that's probably unlikely. The Gaming Revolution also pointed out this could look like the Time Bomb for Buried in the possible remake in DLC 5, but I don't really see much resemblance to the Time Bomb. I can see a couple of things here and there, but looks very original and is of Greek origin, so it feels like it really fits the aesthetic of the Chaos lore. So again, maybe it's in a Chaos map right now, maybe it was planned for one. Another conspiracy is maybe it's going to be for a future Chaos map added to Black Ops 4, Library of Alexandria, or, you know, some Paris map. We never know. You know, this could be used for the future, but it boggles my mind that new content was added, you know, brand new models and stuff, the new weapon, the Micro MG, a brand new model, of course, too. So a lot of new stuff was added in, so I would not be surprised to see some of this content featured in some possible future updates for Black Ops 4 Zombies. Let it be a DLC 5 with Victus maps, or a DLC 6 with more Chaos maps to conclude that story for the game, or forever. We just don't know. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Check out links down below in the description. What do you guys think about the last Dark Ops calling card being changed to something pretty lazy, which is just to have at least half of them all done? What do you think about them also changing the aesthetic and theme of the calling card to just being an animated version of one you already unlocked quite a few months ago? We really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.